Does he like it up? Like the way it sounds good. So what do you want to do like over there other than freaking?
I want to do yoga with you, stretch, massage you, kiss you, read poetry to you, drink a little red wine with you, smoke a little weed with you.
Sex?
Yeah, it's very nice. Take you to a lovely dinner, or do carry out, and then just cuddle with you in bed.
Would you carry out? Would you carry out?
Yeah.
Would you carry out? So, let's check out. Oh my gosh, carry words. Okay. I swear I'm always working because I'm in this much right at this point. You know, when I was working a lot, I cut off on it before, right? I started working regular hours.
What was it, Lillian?
So I was working what? But still not working. And we're all clicking very fast pace for hours. And I'm always squatting. Also. Anyways, I lost going away by that. And I'm not going to tell you. I'm talking about making a diet. My belly's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, how do I exhaust? Did it pass?
Do I like
Actually, give me 1 second.
Okay, my darling. Okay, love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Hold on to that musket now, yeah?
How long you been with old Hawk Face?
I am a hope fit.
Hey, do you ever get a little?
Someone asked me.
Monsieur Ada, docteur Franklin.
Péché que l'on commet à la capitale, on ne le reverra jamais à Versailles.
Les péchés me suivent.
Vous êtes en retard, monsieur le comte. Docteur Franklin, on parle beaucoup de vous à Paris, des expériences de science et des dames.
Sire, jour et nuit, je m'active.
Docteur Franklin est venu accompagné de monsieur Adams.
Vous venez de Paris, monsieur? Don't speak French.
Monsieur Adams, non, ne parle pas un mot de français.
Pas un mot. Eh bien, messieurs, couvrez-vous.
Merci,
Bro, no way!
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they were just fighting over the grants. Who got it for their refugee resettlement? You know?
I have not braved the Atlantic in the middle of winter and been pursued by the predators.
Travel slowly over the ocean.
What kind of a treaty? So what are the details?
Well, they declare themselves our ally and pledge to stand in our defense.
Yes, how much provision is made for naval support?
What about joint venture? No, you inquire us about, Mr. Adams. The French set great store by hygiene when it comes to our relations.
Our mission here requires expedition.
Here in France, you must practice the art of accomplishing much while appearing to accomplish little.
Well, I intend to secure an audience with King Louis at the earliest opportunity. He and I clearly have much to discuss.
You do not demand an audience at Versailles, Mr. Adams. One is invited.
I have not braved the Atlantic.
A pretty big difference.
Well formed. Approach. Right. Remove your helmet.
Your father promised them all, lady. I've seen Celoris bested once or twice, but never quite in that fashion.
No, my love. My brother fought valiantly for you.
That he did, my queen.
There's only be one champion. Three at a time. May I ask anything of me you desire? It is within my power. It is yours.
I ask the honour of a place in your Kingsguard. I will be one of your 7, pledge my life to yours, and keep you safe from all harm.
Main difference, right? The saving salvation of Israel.
Right. Three of the King's Guard.
Saving of
Brief. I have the honor to bring you Lady Catelyn Stark, sent as an envoy by her son, Rob, Lord of Winterfell.
Lord of Winterfell, and King in the North.
Pleased to see you. May I present my wife, Marjorie of House Tyrell.
You are very welcome here, Lady Stark. I'm so sorry for your loss. Most kind.
My lady, I swear to you, I will see the Lannisters answer for your husband murder. When I take King's Landing, I will bring you Joffrey's head. Do you have something better to say?
It's not the same in other. We're not like to say that.
What would you say? So explain it out a little bit, right? So okay, but those other denominations certainly have the notion of like each individual will be saved, but is there also kind of like, oh, the Christian world or the whole world? Right, obviously I guess it's the whole world. Is there something bigger than the individual that like is parallel?
I mean, I can only really speak in depth about Lutheranism and faith to this day, like determining who goes to hell and who doesn't go to hell. That God first is greater than your understanding, and you don't really know it is the mystery. So Lutheranism kind of be like a mystery angle available on who is saved and who is not saved. Instead of like focusing on
Chill out. So try to offer your definition, since you think that this was so inadequate to capture the nuance that we live in our daily lives. I got a question for you. If you go look up the definition of microbiology, and you understand microbiology? So you want to have a theoretical fight? No, sir. I'm asking you a yes or no question. It's a simple question. Your answer should be yes or no. If I look up the definition of microbiology, and I read it, and I understand the definition, does that mean I understand what microbiology?
That means you understand the definition of microbiology. Listen, it's no surprise when you come into a room with Concrete that he's running his fucking lips. He's flapping them lips where he's supposedly at some kind of concrete site doing some job with some contractor that don't pay his no motherfucking bills. The real question is, patriarchy only benefits women? No! Patriarchy only benefits men. That's the definition of motherfucking patriarchy. And we got Beef here, this ginger Ashkenazi, and he recently got married. And so I'm wondering, Beef, in your marriage, are you benefiting from the patriarchy, Beef?
Yeah, you gotta stop talking that. I don't want no job talking crap on the stage with me, brother. You need to calm.
Job talking cracker, motherfucker. That's projection. Activate the projection detection system.
Communist, hold on. Only thing I require in this room, y'all, is to just respect each other when they speaking. Don't overtalk each other, and y'all can cook as much as y'all want to, please. That's the only thing I'm requiring. It's just because I want to hear all of y'all out and hear everybody point. I can't hear all of y'all out if y'all all talking at the same time. You feel me?
That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you. I just want to say
Can I speak to the title?
I do benefit from patriarchy in my household. My word is law in my household. I would say I did not appreciate you calling concrete. That is a racial epithet, then you should not be racially abusing our black brothers like that.
All right, so speaking to the title,
you a fucking ginger anyway. Nobody.
I got you. I got you, man. So speaking to the title, I don't care about who's fucking who, but when you read the definition of patriarchy, the only way men, specifically black men, benefit from patriarchy is the last name. Now, when you do your researching, so America removed race from the birth certificate. I want to say 1988 in the 80s, right? So race is not required to be put on the birth certificate, but they still trace the lineage in the American database, the CDC, through the mothers, who the mother is. You see what I'm saying? But it's not race is not required on the birth certificate anymore. Okay, so that would be matriarchal. Okay, now the operative word in the second definition of patriarchy is excluded from government authority and power. Right? The last time I checked, patriarchy excludes not just women, but it excludes black men and black women, black people, period. And that is called benign neglect. I'm not concerned with who's fucking who because you picked that motherfucker. But politically, you cannot sit here and tell me that women or black women benefit from patriarchy. I'm sorry, because black men don't even benefit from it.
See, it's just a concept that patriarchy is even a concept, and matriarchy is even a concept. The thing in Judaism is, if your mother is Jewish, that makes you a Jew. Now, to the patrilineal Jew whose mother is not Jewish, we've got a schism between a patrilineal Jew and a matrilineal Jew. What does that make the child? And so, patriarchy and matriarchy, it differs from community to community, just like LGBTQIA+. The IA+, the plus is indigenous, from like the 1990s Canadian indigenous tribe, meaning that different roles can be shifted in different communities. And so all I'm trying to say is, I'm landing my plane here, is that patriarchy only benefits men, not women. I rest my case.
Alright, that was really dumb. So, please, shut the fuck up, bro.
We're talking communist that was against the specific rules of the house.
Shut up.
You were breaking the rules of the house. You asked for one rule.
Y'all boys stop mud wrestling, bro. Chill. Alright, so basically, everybody's bringing their own definitions to the conversation. And I think we need to just keep hammering in the actual definition. That way people can stop having these really convoluted takes.
You gonna stop popping that?
One second, brother.
Oh, he talked over again. History, gotta move him down.
Anti-intellectualism isn't gonna save you, right? Trying to rewrite communication isn't gonna save you. I gave you an out, MJ. You could just give us your definition. And I know it's a emotionally charged term where you think of oppressive white men, and that is obviously an aspect of the patriarchy. But the patriarchy exists.
That wasn't in the definition.
One second, brother.
Hey, hold on. Let me
You gotta move him down. He should really get control.
Beef, I don't need any help, man.
But he's over talking.
You're not helping either. You over talking me right now, brother.
I'm just trying to help.
I just told you.
They always trying to help.
MJ, MJ,
My fault, Mister. I'm a
MJ,
brother.
I need you to control yourself in the room, please. That's all I'm asking. Because now you got other people not controlling themselves. So that's all I'm asking. Go ahead, cook y'all.
Yeah, MJ got that barbecue spirit. He can't help himself. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So we gotta get on one accord with a definition and have a conversation based on that. If you want to talk about other things, just use a different label and in a different conversation, and we can talk about those other things. But talking about birth certificates and double income, listen, it's real simple. There is a hierarchical structure, man, woman, child, or we could say God, man, woman, child. That's the patriarchy. It's God, man, woman, child, everywhere you look, everywhere you go, or at least to a general degree, right? 51% of the time. God, man, woman, child. What you niggas want, I suspect, is you want woman, God, woman, man, woman, child, man, and no God, right? That it would be a matriarchy, right? That's what women want. That's what feminists want. They want woman, child, not man, not God. That's what they want. And that's what y'all are advocating for when you say, oh no, the patriarchy doesn't benefit her. Okay, then let's do an alternative. The matriarchy. How does that work? It doesn't work. So the society that you're living in now, that your forefathers created, was created through a patriarchy. God, man, woman, child. It's that simple.
This is typical
nigga back.
Go ahead.
Can I speak, please? I got you. So the reason why I brought up birth certificates, right? If you look up matriarchy and patriarchy, the first definitions of both, it says tracing the child's lineage or through the parents and through the mother or the father. That's the first definition. 3 definitions for each one. Okay. For modern government statistics for statistical data, birth certificate data collection, the U.S. government shifted its approach in 1989. So it wasn't 88, it was 89. Prior to 89, tabulation rules defaulted to the father's race. So it used to be patriarchal in that regard. Okay. Or the non-white parents' race in mixed races, and that was because of the Racial Integrity Act of 1924. Okay. Since 1989, federal data systems have tabulated a newborn's recorded race based on the mother's race when standardization was applied. So America flip-flops on whether it wants to be matriarchal or whether it wants to be patriarchal. Now, when you look at the second definition of patriarchy, okay, it talks about how a woman is excluded from government or being having any position in government because of her gender. The word is excluded. This is how I brought in race. Because last time I checked, black men, women, and kids, gay or straight, fat or skinny, is excluded from government. It's called benign neglect. Okay. Then the third definition of patriarchy, it talks about advocacy in the community, right? We see black men advocating in the community. We see black women advocating. One example of an advocate of a female was Fannie Lou Hamer, a renowned civil rights leader. Along with, she was doing this along with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, so on and so forth, right? So, but when we look at it politically, the second definition when it comes to the context of this conversation, right? Black men and black women do not benefit from patriarchy. Right?
So everybody operating on their own definition, as I said.
Oh my God,
instead
bro,
of forming, one second, brother. Instead of utilizing the work that Mr. Washington used to give us the definition at the top of the room. Here, I'm gonna read it again. A social system in which men, as a group, I'll say it one more time, group, held a disproportionate amount of power, authority, and privilege in key areas of society, such as politics, God, man, woman, child, the economy, God, man, woman, child, family life, God, man, woman, child, religion, God, man, woman, child, culture, God, man, woman, child. It's a group thing, fellas. We're in the group, fellas. And what you want to do is you want to abdicate your rulership so that you can get praise from women. That's what this is. You don't want to take the leadership position. And I understand. Leadership is fucking hard. Leadership is stressful. And y'all are saying, you know what, Bill? You go ahead and make decisions, baby girl. I trust you. I see you. That's the type of weird ass shit you niggas is doing. That's why the car has crashed, blown up in flames, and here we are now because you've abdicated your responsibilities in so many key areas that we have no place to go but back to the patriarchy. You're in a matriarchy, especially black men. You are used to being bitched out by women. You're used to sitting down when you pee. You're used to championing all of her dumb ideas. That's why we're here. Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah, this is typical. This is typical. What do you call this? Anti-intellectual. Hold on.
MJ, let Beats get in there, and then you got it right after, bro.
Okay. Concrete, do you think that we should disenfranchise women and remove the vote from them? Because if the proper hierarchy and the way society should be structured is God, man, woman, child, why should women have the authority to vote or equal to vote if men deserve sort of...
Yeah, I'd have to look into some studies on that to determine whether or not that would be beneficial.
For women to not be able to vote?
Yeah. Look, voting is one aspect of society. There's much more important aspects of society, and you're worried about that one thing at the cost or expense.
Should women be able to own property?
The ways in which concrete...
Hold on, MJ, hold on. Let's not move off the spot. A beef in so I'm starting with you, beef, since you asked the question. When you were trying to ask the question, should women be able to own property?
Of course they should. I believe that we shouldn't have a patriarchy, but I was curious.
Okay. So concrete, should women be able to own property?
Yeah, where does the definition say that women can't own property in a patriarchy?
Okay, so legalize disenfranchisement, right? This is under the definition of patriarchy. So historically, laws explicitly bar women from voting, owning property independently, or holding public office. Legal frameworks like covertures transferred a woman's legal rights directly to her husband in the event that she got married. So this is up until the 1930s. So
what were you reading there?
What does that have to do with patriarchy?
Hold on. You were reading something just now. What was that?
Hold on, MJ, I need you to stop, brother. Concrete. It don't sound like you are informed. This happened in American history. In the 1800s, up until 1835, 1845, you had to own property to be able to vote. Women couldn't own property.
Yeah, what does that have to do with patriarchy, brother?
These laws were passed under patriarchy, sir. Okay,
listen.
Y'all react, right? Listen, stop. Listen. Patriarchy is a social and political system where men hold the primary power and the dominant roles of political leadership, moral authority, and social privilege, while women are historically and strategically marginalized or excluded from governance. And then historical and structural exclusion only led you to legal ramifications. Here goes something else. Spousal rape used to be legal across America. Today, 13 states is still legal. You understand? Because of patriarchy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be me on after concrete.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to. He asked a question. I was trying to stop, man. I'm out the way.
Let me respond.
He asked a question, and I was trying to. Hold on. He asked a question. I was trying to unpack it. That's all. Respect.
And I only said that so that I could get the time I wanted to get. I don't know why he's laughing.
Y'all niggas is cooked, bro.
He's the clown and he's doing the laughing. How you the gesture and the audience at the same time? The thing is, okay, you were glazing Webster and Oxford simultaneously on the Gok 3000 mode. Feel me? But the truth is, these systems go beyond simple definitions, just like any other thing that you could study. Microbiology, biology, algebra. The definition is not going to mean that you understand how it works. Okay? So, you go into sociology when you start to talk about patriarchy. And you go to anthropology when you start talking about patriarchy. And you start getting real understandings of how the system that you defined actually functions. Okay? And so when I was talking about the way in which the family functioned, that was a part of that. Okay? And what Un is talking about is how it politically functioned, right? And all of that to say that when you look into how these things actually function, you see they're actually not serving black men like myself and your black ass self in particular, brother.
All right.
But wait. But before you get in there, Concrete, you got it right after me, Concrete. But MJ, I just want you to notice that you saying basically the same thing that unapologetic was saying. How black men know what I'm You know what I'm saying? Okay. Just making sure you know that.
Yeah, so this is somebody mistaking results with systems, right? So a system is only as good as its inputs, only as good as its execution. And so because the system has had negative results through poor execution, poor ideation, therefore we get rid of the system. That is the dumbest thing I've heard in my life. All morning, let me say that. Right? Because we know cars kill people. The system of driving has aspects of people being drunk, people speeding, people using vehicles in order to intentionally murder people. Look, back up. Therefore, we need to get rid of cars. It's the cars. What the? Bro, y'all niggas. Listen, man. When I say y'all niggas, I mean NJ, and anybody else making these really bad arguments. You're not going to get out of this by making more and more bad arguments. You're cooked, right? The patriarchy is a system of hierarchical structure, and if you want to be under women, just say that. You want a matriarchy. Just pose an alternative, and then tell us how
Concrete, I would argue that we are technically already living in a matriarchy. We're living in a sugar baby. We're living in a sugar baby matriarchy.
Communist, I want you to let him finish and then we can add on.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, so the whole point is, this is a competition of ideas. If you have a better idea, offer that system. Since man or since civilization has existed, it's been predominantly patriarchal, right? If you don't like it, pose a better system, and then we'll look at the results. But guess what? Matriarchies have been tried. They don't work. Why? Because if you have a community ran by women, you have men being in a subservient position, your decision making is gonna be lacking. Your competitiveness is going to be lacking. You're going to be lacking in a lot of domains where you need male leadership. And other niggas think Genghis Khan is going to happen upon you and take all that you accumulated. Right?
Hey, Concrete. Hold on, Beef. Concrete, can we say that, because what you're speaking of and all of those things you just said is what's happening in our society today, especially in the black community. We're looking for leadership. There's a lack of male, everything that you just said is what's happening in our in our society right now. So how is that happening in a patriarchy?
Men still control the important levers of society. We could clearly see that in our government. Predominantly lawmakers are male, executive branch, military branch, judicial branch, all males. The economic center, mostly male. Engineering, mostly male. All the important things, construction, agriculture, everything that makes society work.
Wait, Concrete,
predominantly male.
What are the things that you just named that would happen if we were in a matriarchy? Name those things again. You said leadership. You said some other things.
Name those things. So you got your production, agricultural. You got construction for your.
Mr. Washington, just look at Afghanistan, look at Iran, look at how Muslim countries, which are patriarchies, strict Islamic patriarchy, look at how those civilizations function. They still function. And our country, unfortunately, America, has been flipped upside down. We're the opposite of an Islamic patriarchy. We are a democratic matriarchy, and unfortunately, it sucks. But the truth is, the fine balance comes between man and woman. That's why the two genders are so sacred, and that's why the Kabbalion and other ancient source documents, and even in Disney movies, when you unite the gender, man and woman, not two faggots, not two men, like they like to do all the time, when a man and a woman are united, that's where the presence of the Holy Blessed Ancient One is, God. So, you know, your room is a clickbait title. I appreciate it. And I think Concrete has made some substantial submissions. And also Beef has contributed greatly to this discourse. But I just want to say, regardless of whether we're living in a strict patriarchy or matriarchy, it's up to you and me and every man and woman to create peace and truth and justice in our lives. And, you know, if you just come on Clubhouse and run your big fat chops all day long, you're a fool. And you fool people with your tomfoolery. And I've rested my case 5 years ago, but here I am live streaming Clown House onto YouTube trying to make a shekel. Rabboni Shalom.
Question. So I'm trying to. Hold on. Hey, communists. Question for you. Everything that you just said, are you saying America's more matriarchal or patriarchal? Politically. Communists. Are you there? Because I'm trying to get context. Are we having a political conversation or are we talking about who fucking who? Because politically, America's a patriarchy. It's not a matriarchy.
We not there. Beef, if you want to get in there, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to say that women, of course, have their flaws. They can be cowardly and dishonest and weak and indecisive. But men have this problem where they get angry, their egos get, shattered, and then they will respond with violence. And women don't tend to have that problem. That's why men commit almost all of the murder. That's why men, most of the devastation and horror in the world is caused by men doing chaos to each other. So when you think about it, even if you agree that women have vast deficits in their sort of leadership, decisiveness, all this stuff, I grant all of it. None of it compares to the deficit of men rationalizing violence when their egos are threatened. And you can even think about this evolutionarily, that our ancestors thought, hey, I need to rationalize a reason why I should go kill the neighbors in the neighboring tribe, steal their women, and take their stuff. There was an evolutionary pressure for men to rationalize their chaos and their violence. Women didn't have that. There was no evolutionary pressure for women to think that way. So basically, you should think of men as arguably they shouldn't be given power because they have this defective propensity towards violence. And until we can change that about them, they should not be given power, and we should have a matriarch.
But without violence, we wouldn't have this country. We wouldn't have any of the countries that we have. Do you notice that all of these societies that we speak on was created by violence? Even if we want to talk about the United States of America, how they enslaved 400 black people for 400 years and basically created a nation off of that. So I hear you, Beef, but with that thought process, I don't think anything will get done. I think violence is necessary.
Well, violence is necessary to fight other violent men, but then that's just, the heart of the problem is other men. If we can just all agree to only give power to women collectively, then we won't have to deal with needing a violent strongman to protect you from the other violent strongmen.
So are you saying? So are you saying basically that? So we should start off with the patriarchy and have men create, and then give it to the woman, right? Basically, is that what you're saying?
Basically.
Yeah, it's a misconception that women are any less violent than men. That has been thoroughly dispelled in academic literature that studies these topics. Beef is trying to rely upon our conditioned intuitions as opposed to the actual facts and data on the subject. In fact, all we need to do is go to woman-on-woman relationships, but let's be honest, and we can clearly see the level of violence amongst them, with only them. So the idea that you wouldn't have the same type of pillaging and conquering under women is actually not supported by any information that we have available to us through the Google machine or any other repository of data.
Most of us are not lesbians, though.
Yeah, I was about to say the same
We're,
exact
like,
thing.
majority of us are not lesbians, and we're not doing that.
No,
But it ain't just about being lesbian, though, Vanessa. You know, if you go back into history, also, since we're talking about women-led societies, a women-led society is what sold majority of our slaves to the white European of how, you know, black African Americans got here in the first place.
Right, and I understand that, but I think using these arguments to basically say that the violence that men commit is not a real thing is so disingenuous to me.
I never said that.
Yeah, that triggers
You definitely were comparing